We're here with the one and only CHSN's Casey Johnson. I knew you were going to laugh here, but let's start here. The Bulls on a 4-game win streak right now, the above 500 for the first time since, around Thanksgiving, coming off a 114-111 win against the Celtics on Derrick Rose. Let's start there. What were some of your takeaways from D-Rose night and his jersey getting retired?
Well, I mean, the game itself was pretty cool because you have a last-second game winner by Kevin Huerter, and it was kind of emblematic of the way the Bulls have been playing. The ball swung around the perimeter, a lot of passing, a lot of selflessness. That's defined this win streak. And then, yeah, I've said this a lot. I mean, I've been fortunate to be around this franchise for close to 30 years, and that's on the short list of best memories for me. I mean, it was pretty remarkable to see a guy from Chicago go up in the rafters with that history. You had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen taping congratulation videos, which doesn't happen all the time, and just the number of people that came back. I mean, you had upwards of 25 NBA players in one building for one person. Speaks to the bond that those teams had with each other and with the fans.
Something I will remember from that night, it was cold, it was snowy, but just the amount of people that came out. You had lines wrapped around the United Center as well. Let's talk about this team right now. As I said, on a 4-game win streak, wins over Brooklyn, the Clippers, Minnesota, and Boston too. What has stood out to you about how they've won some of these games?
Yeah, I was talking before about the selflessness. I mean, you're seeing almost every night upwards of 30 assists per game. I mean, this has been a pretty season-long theme in terms of their passing ability, but now they're making the shots. They've made the most three-pointers over a 4-game span in franchise history, make or miss league. But you're seeing some things that have staying power, even if you miss shots, in terms of the passing, the cutting in the half court. You're seeing 7 or 8 players in double figures offensively. Defensively, they've showed a little bit more bite of late. I think that's somewhat reflective of the double big lineup with Jalen Smith starting alongside Nikola Vucevic. And I just saw a light bulb go off in your head. Some people are going to be talking about the double big lineup at some point. But no, they're playing good basketball. And you got to remember, this is without Zach Collins, who's a big part of what this team does defensively. And now Trey Jones was huge in that win at Minnesota, but you're going to be without him for a little bit, so the guard depth is going to be tested again.
Let's talk about this double big lineup. We just heard from Jalen Smith just moments ago. Bulls right now, 4-game win streak. It is the longest active win streak in the NBA, by the way. But this double big lineup, what stood out to you, and also how well Jalen Smith has been playing too?
Yeah, to me, this is some of the best basketball of Jalen Smith's career. I mean, he has a pretty uncanny ability to post double-doubles, even if he's only playing like 15, 16 minutes a night. Now he's playing 25 minutes a night in the month of January. And he really complements Nikola Vucevic because they're both have the ability to shoot, stretch a defense and pick and pop. But, Vuce can pick and roll. Jalen's got some shot blocking ability and rebounding ability at the defensive end. And they're just both really high IQ basketball players. So the fit has been pretty seamless. And you're seeing Billy Donovan use it now regardless of the matchup. It used to be matchup dependent for him to start double bigs, and now they're just going double big and going, all right, match up with us. And I like that approach because it kind of is them leaning into this identity, and I think it's working for them.
Casey Johnson likes that approach, and it's also working, by the way. Let's talk about the NBA trade deadline. It is next week. We're about 10 days away from it. How much leverage do the Bulls have right now, and what are you hearing in terms of maybe what kind of calls they're getting about an Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White, too?
I mean, this has been a pretty drawn-out saga. I mean, we've been talking about the impending free agency of Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White since last season. So I'm just going off what Arturas Karnisovas said at Media Day. To me, it was a different message. Before, it was kind of like playoffs or bust. You didn't hear that this season. You heard building while competing. And so it's pretty established throughout the league that the Bulls would be open to moving some of these expiring contracts for the right price. They're not going to make a trade just to make a trade. But when you have 7 players headed for unrestricted free agency, if you let all 7 of those players walk for nothing, you're in a bad situation. So, again, they're not going to make a trade just to make a trade, but they're open to taking calls. And if the right opportunity presents itself where you can add some young talent or some draft picks and get rid of one of these expiring contracts so you safeguard against losing them for nothing, then it's something you got to look at. I mean, Minnesota is the team you hear most closely linked to the Bulls. I know that situation pretty well, and Minnesota does want to add some bench firepower, but you got to look at their assets. They don't have any first-round draft picks to trade. They don't have a lot of young contracts that they would want to move. They're very high on their first-round pick, Berenger. I mean, maybe something gets done as you get close to the deadline, but right now things aren't very imminent with that franchise.
There are teams that need guard right now. You look at the Houston Rockets and Minnesota Timberwolves, but for someone like Kobe White, what could the Bulls get back?
I mean, as I said before, if you're talking about building while competing, you're talking about getting, young NBA talent or draft picks for the future. And it's really it's not to say the Bulls don't like Kobe White. They love Kobe White. But when you've got that many players headed unrestricted free agency, you sometimes have to be proactive about that situation and get out in front of it. So we'll see what happens. But in the conversations I have with executives from other teams that I know, the league-wide impression is the Bulls are listening to, calls that they're getting.
What about Vooch? Because obviously this was something we talked about last season, a big topic as well. But what are you hearing in terms of that front?
I have not heard much buzz about Vooch this trade deadline. It's not to say he's not a good player, because he is, but I mean, he'd be a short-term rental, because when he hits unrestricted free agency this summer, he's probably going to be – he's at the stage of his career, 15-year veteran, age 35, where he's probably going to be signing a smaller deal next summer. So why would you give up capital when you can just sign him for less on the open market this summer? That's not to say he won't be moved, but right now I've not heard much buzz about him.
Casey Johnson, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Tina.
All right. We'll talk to you next week, right?
I'll be around.
Now he's got to do it.